in the last class, we started the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is called as the conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. And we went up to verse 11. I remember we went up to verse 11. I didn't elaborate on verse 11, but I know that we went till verse 11. We just read verse 11. So we will still again read verse 11 today, and we will go till verse 40. There's a lot we have to cover today. Verse 40. Because today we cover till verse 40. In the next two classes, we will probably finish Bhagavad Gita. After that, we will start Nectar of Devotion, which I would like to finish, if possible, before the end of this year. So that next year we can finish Isopanisad Bhagavad. So by May also we should target to end up this, which will be 3 years. I thought 2 years, but it should end up 3 years. One more extra year we have. So that's the plan. So at least you can see the end of the road. Assuming that all of you will submit your assignment. Okay, so at the beginning of chapter 18, Arjuna asks the Lord that he would like to know the difference between sannyas and yaga. So that's what we were discussing in the last two classes. So what does Lord Krishna say in response? Both sannyas and tyaga, are they different? We saw that both are one and the same. Sannyas and tyaga, one and the same, essentially. There is no difference, it's only the consciousness. Anyone remembers anything? We also saw that sannyas refers to renunciation of material and activities like karma kanda. We saw that. And tyaga relates to the renunciation of the fruits of activities. So essentially the result is one and the same. A sannyasi is a tyagi. And one who has the qualities of tyaga for all practical purposes of sannyasi. So we saw all these things in the last class. So we also saw that Lord Krishna is explaining all these answers in 3 sections. First he is quoting from the Karma Kanda section, the Karma Yoga section. Then he is quoting from the Jnana section, and then finally the Bhakti section. So in the previous class we discussed many aspects from the Karma Yoga section. And today we will conclude the Karma Yoga section. We will also conclude the Jnana Yoga section. And from the next class we will do the Bhakti Yoga section. Because this is all again a summary of whatever we have already studied. So nothing greatly new is going to come out now in the Bhagavad Gita, because it's a summary. So in verse 11, where we were last time, so I'll read that again. So you have to keep the children quiet. Whoever parent, please take care of their children. Ask them to be absolutely quiet so that we can concentrate on it. So verse 11, the Lord is saying, it is indeed impossible for an embodied living being to give up all activities. Because the Lord had said in verse 10 that the intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. So Arjuna is getting a bit confused. He is saying that how can one stay away from inauspiciousness as well as auspiciousness that comes out of work. So he is a bit confused. So he is asking the Lord, how is it possible? So the Lord is saying, it is indeed impossible for an embodied living being to give up all activities. Which means Arjuna is thinking that we cannot do any activities because either auspiciousness will come out or inauspicious. These are the only two possibilities. That is, how can you give up activities? So Lord is saying, yes, it is impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. So renunciation means renouncing the fruits of. So that's why he is mentioning that. So somebody wants to, Rajkumar, you want to read that purport? 11?
It is said in Bhagavad Gita that one can never give up work at any time. Therefore, he who works for Krishna and does not enjoy the fruits of fruitive results, who offers everything to Krishna, is actually a renouncer. So there are many members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness who work very hard in their office or in the factory or some other place, and whatever they earn, they give to the society. Such highly elevated souls are actually sannyasis and are situated in the renounced order of life. It is clearly outlined here how to renounce the fruits of work and for what purpose fruits should be renounced.
So what are the points here? How to be a sannyasi or a tyagi?
So whatever work or activities that we perform, we must perform it for satisfaction of Krishna.
Okay, and then?
And then the result of that is that we won't be entangled.
Okay, so you are saying a right thing, but in context. In context.
Announce the fruits of the
Correct. So here is not, in this specific section he is not talking about the work, talking about the fruits of the work. So Lord Krishna is saying in this section that it's not about karma tyag, but it is about karma phala tyag, renouncing the fruits of the activities. Now, last time we had asked a question. If we are saying renounce the fruits of your activities, be detached from the results. So we had discussed a question. Then someone asks you, your Bhakti Vriksha member, when you are speaking this, is asking you, I am going to office, so should I not expect salary? How will you answer that question?
You should expect the salary, but how you utilize that salary, that is the question. Expectation, because you are going to utilize that salary for Krishna consciousness activities. You can donate, you can present mastery for so many services. But if you are not expecting anything, it's actually for the devotional service you should not expect anything. But not for the material activities, yes, I do, you expect, but how you utilize it.
Okay, you're almost there.
Probably
You
everybody will get
have to
salary.
earn. So,
Okay.
should not expect for oneself gratification.
Correct.
Our work is not a material activity.
It's a good point. Huh?
Our work, it's not a material activity, is it?
Correct. Yes, these are all arguments. So say it is not, don't put the question mark.
No,
is it? There is a full stop, no question mark. Yes, our work is not a material activity. Right?
And so in fact the communists had
Our work is for Krishna and the fruits are for?
Krishna's pleasure.
So that is what is, so when we are working, we are taking that salary to the extent that we are using that salary, as Prabhuji and Mataji pointed out, in Krishna consciousness. To that extent we have done phal tyag. Right? When I use it to buy a bottle of, when I go to that Christian Dior and I want to buy a bottle of perfume there, and I want to buy that, what is that, Louis Vuitton apparel, then it is called as sense gratification, because you don't need a Louis Vuitton to be in Krishna consciousness. Whereas if you can buy a nice good quality dhoti and a recently good quality shirt and trouser, which is fine, just to go to office, so that a nice suit or whatever, just to go and because you need to do your job, you need to be seen as such in your particular role. Then you are detached from them, like that. Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. Actually, this is at the level of practicality. At our level, we are talking. But actually, if you want to, if there are much higher principles here. But it may sound theoretical. If we ask, if we all have to try to do it, it may sound a bit theoretical, whereas it is possible. It is entirely possible if we want to do it. Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they set the example of how to renounce the fruits of actions. So what did they do? They took all their life savings when they were going to meet Mahaprabhu. They took all their life savings and then they divided it. Gave it to relatives, gave it to friends, and then only I think 25% or so kept for personal emergencies. So if we can keep that salary which we absolutely require to maintain our body and soul, and then release all other for Krishna consciousness, then 100% we are sannyasi and karma phalatyaga. That is the principle. That is what we are arriving at. In fact, Srila Prabhupada's disciple Jayanand Prabhu, whose Tithi also we celebrate, he is the only disciple of Prabhupada whose Tithi we actually celebrate in ISKCON. Jayanand Prabhu's appearance day. Appearance day or disappearance day? Disappearance day. We celebrate. Yeah. So, Jayanand Prabhu was a taxi driver, cab driver in San Francisco, right? Yeah. New York? Yeah, he was a cabbie. So, he met Prabhupada and every day he still continued driving. Then after that he will come and do all the temple work. And whatever salary he gets, it's not that he keeps something for himself and then gives for spiritual activities. He will give everything to Srila Prabhupada and then he will trust that Srila Prabhupada will give him whatever he requires to maintain his body and so on. This is really, really the highest example of karma phala tyaga. Okay. So there are two examples. We see Sanatana Goswami on that side, and here we see Jayanand Prabhu. Pardon?
Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is Sridhara was there, he used to earn and
Worship the Ganges.
worship Ganges and
Very good example.
he used to keep for himself.
Correct. Very good example. He only had a pot which had a hole in
Which
it
had a
actually.
hole in it.
Iron pot. Which Mahaprabhu went and drank water from, saying that I want to drink water. And everyone, all the Vaishnavas drank water and they fell down in ecstasy after drinking from that pot. Hole which didn't have anything. But Mahaprabhu said, you are a thief. You have the highest treasure. You are a big rich man, but you don't want to share it with anyone. Like that. That was the treasure of prem that we had in the past. So these are very good examples of karma phalatyaga. Vrajba Prabhu, you had a question.
One of the lectures you have mentioned that the work that we do is ugra karma. I can't remember which sannyasi had mentioned that.
Katapakaran Maharaj.
So I always had this question that devotees who are working predominantly in temple related activities versus devotees who are working outside involved in ugra karma. Obviously, I mean, even if they are doing ugra karma, but they also they can renounce the activities. But at the end of the day, they are still involved in ugra karma. But the devotees who are serving in temple or temple related activities are all the time in.
How can you say that? When a crossface van is going, it can cross over several ants on the road.
Yeah, that is.
So you cannot avoid being in this world. Whatever activity we do, it's very difficult to be 100% sinless. What we can only do, therefore, is to use the situation which Lord has given us to serve Him to the best of our capacity. That's all we can do. There is no point in thinking too much about ugra karma, because at the end of the day, it is yes, anukulesa sankalpa is very important. So do the activities which are anukul, and pratikulesa varjana means, for example, let's say you have a job in coals where you have to handle meat. So there are devotees who have gone through that situation. So then they have, the best they can do is what they can go and they cannot say that, okay, I will not work in coals, I will not work in a company which sells animal flesh. If we talk like that, then you and I should not be working with banks, because banks fund abattoirs. Right? So that way we cannot escape karma anything. We cannot escape. Whichever industry we go, we cannot escape karma. You go to retail industry, you cannot say, I will not do implementation for RV Norman or something like that. You can't say like that. Because they sell leather sofas. You cannot. I cannot go work in blue scope steel, because the knives which are produced by that steel are used in butchering animals. You would look, but Prabhu, I am in IT, Prabhu. I am only doing business warehouse. Can you say like that, Damu Prabhu? You cannot say like that. Because we are storing data and we are making the processes more efficient of killing animals. we are introducing cost-effective, best business practices to kill animals. So if you actually start translating all that, we will become crazy. None of us will go to office on Monday. Right? So we really can't think like that. But maximum we can do is, if we are directly dealing, the closer we are to the sin, we can get more and more away from that sin. So we are at best very remote participants to that activity. So Kadamba Kama Maharaj is absolutely right. Yes, it is Ugra Karma only which is going on outside. And we are all participants to that. We are all Shudras working in that, working for Ugra Karmis. But again, we have to take a step back and see, why are we in this profession? We are still, whatever we may say, Melbourne is very nice for devotional life, Bhakti ke liye aaye hain, Bhakti ke liye ruke hain. We may say so many things. But at the end of the day, it is possible to do Bhakti anywhere. If you really want to do only Bhakti, we can do it in Trichy also, right? In Srirangam. You can do in Vrindavan, in Mayapur. Sit there nicely, one bedroom, nicely do Bhakti. We don't really need the money that we think we need. Because we have too many material desires. We have material desires not only for ourselves, but we have career aspirations for our children also, about which we are too concerned all the time. So therefore, then this should happen, that should happen, that should happen. Soon we will come to a stage where we are worried about our grandchildren. That stage will also come. So we cannot blame the Lord for that. So we are in a time, we are in a place, and we are in a circumstance because of our material desires. Our time, place, circumstance has not been decided by spiritual mode. Despite our best, spiritual intentions, it's not like that. We don't have the best of spiritual intentions in doing the job that we are currently doing, because we are Mishri Bhaktas. We are Vaishnava Bhas. We are not pure devotees right now. So we have to make best use of a bad body. That's all we can do at the practical level. So at a practical level, at least what we can do is that we are here, whatever it is. So whatever salary comes, to the best extent, we try to see that our standard of living is not directly increasing because of in proportion to our salary. So whatever we earn, today if we are earning $4,000, same standard of living. Tomorrow we are earning $10,000, same standard of living. Doesn't mean suddenly, we start dressing up differently and our wives carry, that bag and the shoes, same color and all. matching types. All that we are seeing, pink shoe and pink juta bhi rahega, like that. Small purse like that. God knows what is inside that purse. Okay, so all this is lifestyle. ये सब ऊपर का जरूरत नहीं है इसका. What is it? It's not required. These things are not required. For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or joy.
A person in Krishna consciousness acting in knowledge of his relationship with Krishna is always liberated. Therefore, he does not have to enjoy or suffer the results of his acts after death.
Srila Prabhupada, in this section, Prabhupada is trying to bring out this point that sannyasa and tyaga are synonymous with one another. Sannyas and tyaga are synonymous with one another. They are not different. And more, we are given this lesson in this section that the superior method of becoming free from karma is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Because please understand, this is the 18th chapter. The first part of 18th chapter is very similar to the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. That is a connection. Right? First 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita deal with Karma Yoga. Right? So that connection is there. So Lord is talking from the Karma Yoga viewpoint right now. So he is saying that Nishkama Karma is the best. Higher than that, what we have learned? Akama karma. Sakama karma, nishkama karma and kama karma. So right now we are saying akama karma is actually bhakti. Akama karma and you can't do akama karma without bhakti because they are both one and the same. So here, because we have the karma yoga section, so the whole idea is to work nishkam karma.
Can we say akama karma is the starting point of bhakti because we haven't developed love, right? When we start with akama karma.
Akama karma is only possible when we are already in love. Akama means what? That you don't have any material desires. Can we say that?
They are indifferent to the activities and the result.
Pardon?
They are indifferent to the activity and the result.
Yeah.
That is akama.
Yeah.
But still we might not have developed love for Krishna. Can it happen?
Akama, your activity is okay. It's a good question. There are various dimensions of activities, which is what we are going to learn today. So you hold to your question. It will get answered automatically when you go further. Because activity is not only the activity itself. There are 5 characteristics of any action, which we will come to in the verses. So just hold on for some time. It is coming now, down the line. So a person, Prabhupada mentions that a person in Krishna consciousness who is acting in, Gurujan Prabhu mentions that a person in Krishna consciousness acting in knowledge of his relationship with Krishna is always liberated. Therefore, he does not have to suffer or enjoy the results of his activities. So there is nothing, karma doesn't touch you. So this is all from the karma yoga viewpoint, as I said before. Now, Srila Prabhupada the next verse that comes. So I'll read the next verse and then we will discuss. O mighty armed Arjuna, which is 13. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. So Brajava Prabhu, your question is answered right here. There are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. So Prabhupada is writing here that one may raise a question that since any activity performed must have some reaction, how is it that the person in Krishna consciousness does not suffer or enjoy the reactions of his work? Every activity must have. So only because a person is in Krishna consciousness, how do we understand that he does not suffer or enjoy the results of reaction? How is it possible to act yet remain free from the reaction to activity? How is that? So therefore, in the coming section, whatever next 3 or 4 verses, we are going to study what is called as the science of action. The theory of action, if you like, whatever you call it. The science behind action. And that will answer Brajava Prabhu's question also. So, what have we studied till now? About action, Nishkama. Now we are studying the science behind action. So now, can you connect back that we are now transitioning from where to where? From karma to jnana. The moment you say science, you are coming into the jnana fold, right? The moment you say action, you are talking about the karma. So we discuss action, and now we are discussing the science behind action. So here is where the transition is happening in this verse. So in text 14, the Lord says, the place of action, which is the body. What are we discussing? We are discussing 5 causes. They have to be silent. So we are talking about the 5 causes for the accomplishment of action. 5 causes for the accomplishment of action. So let's see what the Lord says. In text 14, he defines what are those. The place of action. What is the place of action? The body. Yeah, the kshetra. The place of action, the performer. Who is the performer? The kshetrajna. Yeah, the living entity. The various senses. The many different kinds of endeavor. And ultimately the super soul. Who is super soul? and also the Kshetra Nya. The bigger Kshetragya, capital K. Because both are residents in this body. So it is said that the body, the performer, which is the soul, the various senses, like that, the gross body, in the sense it's a place. The gross body only is a place. The subtle body cannot be a place. Does that make sense? So the place of action, the gross body, the performer, the various senses, which includes the subtle senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, right? And ultimately the super soul, these all together cause what is called as action. If you really think about it, it's a nice network. It's a complex network. All of these things decide action. For example, sometimes we get irritable at home just because we have a headache. So what is driving our action of being irritable? The senses, the body. It is driving. So that's a constituent of action. Sometimes we do an activity to please the Lord. Then super soul is driving that. Right? Sometimes we do an activity because we like doing that activity. So our senses are now driving that activity. It's like that. Does that make sense? So any action can be dissected. There are these 5 reasons which are there. Okay. So
excuse me, tell us something about endeavor.
Pardon?
Tell us something about endeavor.
So sometimes we get frustrated with somebody and start yelling at that person. I have done so much endeavor to bring you to this stage in life. Like that. So I am getting very attached. So the endeavor is now driving my actions. Right? Or because you are coming up so nicely, therefore I am endeavoring more. For example, how to say? If our child, let's say, is coming up very nicely, let's say a child is a whiz kid, let us say, for example. I am not talking about my child, I am talking about anybody's child who is sitting here. But let's say somebody's child is a whiz kid. Then initially we don't know, we have some ambitions, but later on we realize more and more, then we start developing bigger and bigger ambitions. And we start also endeavoring in that direction, more and more and more. Like that. So that's endeavor. So endeavor is also a constituent of action. Let's see more. We are going to discuss that a little bit more here. Let's read 14 and 15 also together, and then we will discuss. Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors. See what Lord is saying. Lord is saying that whatever right or wrong action a man performs, either by body or by mind or by speech, is caused by these 5 factors. So, the first part is what? The place of action. The place of action is the body. It is called Adhisthana. You don't have to note that down. Just hear it. So the body is the place where Gurujan Prabhu writes, the body is that place which is held up by the skeleton. The body is that place which is held up by the skeleton. Actually everyone is a skeleton in one sense, our bodies. It is a skeleton which is covered by some fat and some muscles, and then but at the end of the day everyone is walking, talking skeletons in that sense, and all the activities are being done on this body. Then the performer or the soul, the karta. The karta is the knower and the doer, not the only doer. Doer, I said. The karta is the knower and the doer. The knower is the soul. The body doesn't know anything. It doesn't have consciousness. It doesn't have chit. Okay. Whereas the soul has got. So the performer is the knower and the doer. And when the performer is in material consciousness, the performer acts through false ego. So there are 5 constituents of action. The place where the action activity is performed, right? Then the person who is performing the activity, he could act under false ego. He could endeavor under false ego. Ishvaro, what is that? Ishvaro aham bhogi, siddhoham balavan sukhi. So I can do all endeavor, saying that I will endeavor in such a way that I will accomplish something very big and I will enjoy the fruits thereof, including the prestige which comes with my work. That is endeavor. So here, it's a material consciousness. Who is endeavoring at the end of the day? You cannot say, oh, my only body is endeavoring. No. It is endeavoring because the soul wants the body to do that. The soul is taking the right decisions. The soul is taking the decisions. Yeah.
5 factors means all the 5 factors are required at every time, or just one factor is required?
Usually, it is mentioned here that they are all the constituents of action. Usually, it's an interplay of all these 5 things. Usually.
And at any point of time, one is predominant.
Anyway, anything can drive. Parts of the body, which are the various senses, karanam, instruments of action. Many different kinds of endeavor, which is called as cheshta. In Hindi also we say, no? आप ये चेष्टा क्यों कर रहे हो? Cheshta means what? Action. Endeavor. You are endeavoring. Super soul. Super soul is the 5th cause, whose will finally prevails in any activity. I may decide to endeavor. For example, I may decide, from tomorrow I am deciding that I will be the chairman of my company. I am going to work very hard and become chairman of my company. But the super soul has other plans. So the super soul, at night time, you have some fever and you go to the doctor and he says you have 4 days to live, 4 months more. Correct? So ultimately, the Lord is the sanctioner, super soul. Ultimately, without the super soul sanction, you can't do anything. Some medical problem can arise, or next day itself, the company can go down because some chairman did some scandal. Therefore, the company is winding up. You thought of becoming the chairman, but the company itself is winding up now. So, therefore, we cannot control just by our senses or because of our endeavor. If we think that we can attain outcomes, it is not true. The sanction of the super soul has to be there in any activity which we do. Good activity, bad activity, nothing can be accomplished without the sanction of the super soul. So that is a super cause, if you like. So, what is the central point here? The central point is very nicely mentioned by Gurujan Prabhu in terms of the commentary of Srila Bhaktivedanta VedaBase. He mentions that yes, we are the doers. We cannot commit some activity and say, no, I am not the doer. There are 5 constituents of action. Like that. Nobody will accept. So yes, we are the doer. We are also that. We are there actually as the soul. So there are 2 main personalities here, the soul and the super soul. So yes, we are the doers. Our activities do spring from our free will. So we have to understand, we are the doers to the extent of our free will, but our endeavor, it is mentioned here, is not the independent cause of action. Does it make sense? Yes, we are the one who is endeavoring, but our endeavor, which is based on our free will, is not the sole cause of the action, because the action has to be sanctioned by the super soul. Does it make sense? So that is the central point which is coming up here. The super soul still remains the sanctioner of activities.
Then is the super soul responsible if something goes wrong, or somebody does that? I know you mentioned it in the 5th to 8th chapter, but I just want to understand it again in this context now. How is super soul responsible if somebody...
Yeah, we have already discussed there, no? In that chapter we already discussed the super soul cannot be held responsible. The super soul is only the facilitator. If super soul will advise you, don't. But if you can always overrule the super soul, then the super soul says, okay, fine. If you are happy in this way, okay, go ahead and suffer the reaction later on of doing this activity. Because the super soul does not impede with the free will of the person.
Then how is
Prakriti Priya Karmani, we are not the doer. But here we are saying we are the doer. So how
So we are not a capital doer. That's what Prakriti Kriyamanani says. There are 2 doers, which we saw in the earlier chapters. There is a capital DOER and there is a small DOER. Okay. So the capital doer is the super soul, the small doer is us. What does it mean by that? It doesn't mean that the super soul is responsible for all ugra karma that is going on. It is not to be understood in that way. It just means that the super soul will guide. But at the end of the day, the super soul, the very nature of God is what? Not to interfere with the free will of someone. Okay? And therefore the super soul can sanction. Because the super soul can sanction that. Sometimes the super soul may not sanction also that activity. Okay? But again, that's again a complex interplay of karma. It's a very complex interplay of karma. For example, you killed me in last lifetime. Okay? In this lifetime we are coming together. We are enemies. So you have to get killed by me. Because that is the law of karma. So when I am killing you, the super soul may not stop that because you are getting your karma by that. So it's making the job easy. His job is made easy. If you see the recent section in Srimad Bhagavatam, the conversation which in the temple we are doing that section, chapter 3. Chapter 3 is it? Chapter 2. Chapter 3, chapter 2, right? Yeah. What is that chapter title called? Remembrance of Lord Krishna. In that, Prabhupada writes a very nice purport. He says that Uddhava and Vidura are talking, having this conversation about the Lord enabling so many things. He is the supreme controller. Now, how nicely he arranges things. The Lord actually wants to weed out all the sinful personalities from earth. Okay, so he allowed the Kauravas to disrobe Draupadi. He allowed the Kauravas to send the Pandavas on exile. He allowed everything to happen so that what will happen? All these people will get assembled on the battlefield of Kurukshetra and finish each other. Okay, and what the Lord wanted was, he wanted to remove all the unwanted seeds from the face of the earth. So he ensured that all those rascals were siding with Duryodhan came on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, so that in one shot he can, they themselves will finish each other. Like that. So the Lord can enable so many things like that. So sometimes you may find, you cannot say that the Lord is responsible because he sanctioned me killing that person. Because the Lord may have other plans. Okay, fine. This person anyway has to die, so you be the medium. Done. Like that. It's a very complex interplay of karma.
Because other person will also get the karma because of that.
Which one?
If he is...
Yeah, because the super soul, for example, if he has killed me in the last lifetime, I am taking a knife and I am going at him. Okay. The super soul will tell me, killing is not good, revengeful habit is not good. How does the super soul tell that? Either it will come as a voice from inside, or it comes through Guru. Okay, Guru Sadhu Shastra. But we have to read the Shastras, no? Most of the people who have never read Bhagavad Gita don't want to listen to the super soul.
So is there an instance where the super soul doesn't sanction?
Yeah, possible also.
Possible also.
Yeah, so many times. Have any of your material desires not been fulfilled recently? Prabhu. He may not sanction also.
Can you also say that the super soul sanctions everything, but we might not sanction it according to our desire? So in other words, without his will nothing happens. But when he is not fulfilling our desire, he is still sanctioning it, but according to his will rather than according to our will. Can we also say that?
Possibly, yeah. You can say that. Yeah. You can say.
So you take doubt on this. The father will never sanction something bad which a child wants to do. Why does this thing is not clear? So that's why I'm asking. Why will Lord sanction something which is not good for the soul? If super soul has got all the powers, why doesn't super free will is, I understand free will is there, but still even a child has got free will, and as a father will stop something.
Your question, in fact, you should ask another question. You shouldn't even ask this question. You should ask, why did the Lord create the material world? Why did he sanction creation of material world? Why did he sanction Brahma's role? Correct, no? He should not even allow the pure devotees to go out of Goloka Vrindavan. But he sanctioned because he is independent, and he does not, and he wants his jivas also to be independent. He will not come in the way of independence. He says, I am creating a jail for you all. You all do whatever you all want there. I will give you some advice, but if you want to remain in the jail itself, then I will continue. I will give you some rules and regulations. Within that, all these things will keep happening. खून खराबा होता होगा. तुमको मजा आ रहा है, तुम रहो वहाँ पे अंदर. In fact, it is true. I was telling yesterday, in our lunchtime, you remember? I was reading one quote of Radhanath Swami Maharaj, which came to me through the daily nectar mails. It is mentioned what a jail Lord Krishna has created. Man creates so many big jails, but still prisoners escape. No? Even from the tightest security prison, Anda cell, people are escaping, right? But what a jail Lord Krishna has created, that there are no walls in this jail. This jail is full of misery and still nobody wants to get out. Isn't it? Full of misery, no walls, but still nobody wants to get out. So it is like that. So he will not interfere with the field. He will let it go on. That is why whole material world is like that. But it is, if you go back to Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, if you see that verse, what is that verse? About the various conch shells which are being blown. What is that verse? Panchajanyam Rishikesho Deva Dattam Dhananjaya Foundram Dadno Mahashankam Bhima Karma Varkodara. In that the Lord Krishna is mentioned as Rishikesha. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, but for a pure devotee the Lord Krishna controls his senses. So he does control. He only does not come in the way of people who want that independence.
Condition.
But if someone has completely surrendered, then he will control our senses. I was hearing, I don't know whose lecture last week, either it was Govind Prabhu or one of the lectures I was hearing, where it was mentioned, I think it was Govind Prabhu's lecture. So he was mentioning Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj had done a prayer to the Lord. I don't know whether it was Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj or Stoka Krishna Prabhu. One of them had made a prayer to the Lord that, Lord, I have come to you enough with material desires. Now I am coming to you for the final prayer. Whatever situation that will lead to my complete purification, you give me only those situations in life. And then he prayed, if that be cancer, so be it. Even if you want to give me cancer, if that is required for my complete purification and surrender, because my mind, as long as I am very healthy, then mind is going here and there. Let me make more money, let me have more prestige, let me do this, that. But whatever is required for complete purification of me, where there is nothing else I will be interested in life except your lotus feet, let me have that. That's how he prayed, and then he got it. So the Lord sanctioned that desire. So he's a sanctioner. He says, okay, very good desire, sanctioned. But how many of us can pray like that? Correct? So he can sanction anything. So how he sanctions, why he sanctions, it's up to him. It's very complex. We and I cannot understand because we are not pure devotees. Even Brahmaji cannot understand why the Lord does certain things.
Yeah, sorry, one doubt. If someone actually comes in Krishna consciousness in distress, so like even Prahlad, not Prahlad Maharaj, like Guru Maharaj, and so forth, he wanted the kingdom, basically kingdom of his father. So actually the super soul of the Krishna sanctioned, like he will get, and he gave him more, like a bhakti as well. But what happens, like if you come in distress and you keep on getting more distressed, so nothing has been sanctioned, like distressed, and you basically, your desire is to progress more in Krishna consciousness. The distresses are increasing and increasing and increasing. So how do you actually take? Well, will you actually go? He might lose the faith. Because Krishna is all merciful and all that. So if somebody asks that question, how would you respond to it?
Yeah, so distresses will, Krishna may choose to give some devotee more and more distress. But we have to understand one thing. It is easy to say that after I came to devotional service, I am getting more and more distress. It's easy to say like that. Which means we are actually assuming that now I am free from all sinful reaction and Krishna is directly giving me this distress. That means I am actually saying that actually I am a very saintly person. I don't have any sinful reaction. I have fully surrendered to the Lord. And now the Lord is giving me distress. But one doesn't think that the distress may have come because of my karma. Correct? So if one is just having, So it's quite possible also that because the person is coming in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is trying to exhaust his karma very fast so that he can come back to him. That is also possible. So again, these things cannot be explained. There is no one rule by which we can crack this algorithm. It's not like that. There can be several reasons. Several reasons why somebody falls down. Several reasons why somebody feels that he is not progressing in Krishna consciousness despite many years like that. In fact, I was again sharing that example, in our lunchtime Bhagavatam lunchtime discussion. I will share that here also. I heard a very nice example. Please hear this. It's a very good example. This is from Govind Prabhu was mentioning in one of the classes I was hearing last week that devotional service. He was talking about Brahmacharya ashram, but I think it is for Grihasthas also. Devotional service is like traveling in an aeroplane. Okay? And it's a very nice example. He says an aeroplane travels at what speed? What is the speed of an aeroplane in air? 700 kilometers per hour. Now, does any vehicle on land travel at that speed? The fastest is Shinkansen bullet trains in Japan, which I have seen. 300, 350 max, right? 700 kilometers and all, no way, nothing runs. Even that new car, what they have released, Aditya is saying one new car they have released. Lamborghini or Aventador, no, not that, something he tells about, something which is assembled. So even that car is nowhere close to the speed of an aeroplane. So devotional life is like an aeroplane, it's traveling in an aeroplane. In an aeroplane, what happens? You are traveling at what speed? 700 kilometers per hour. But do you feel you are traveling at 700 kilometers per hour? You don't feel, no? You just feel that nothing is moving. When you look outside also, one cloud is there far. And why say they can have a cloud? And then I'm thinking, unless some turbulence comes, then you feel, no, I'm traveling. But otherwise, it's just like, nothing is happening. And then you're then going back and seeing the video, whatever movies, channel, whichever you are watching. So nicely, and then everything is going on nicely. You can talk also, there is not much noise, nothing. So you actually, it's like, and then when you close the doors, people close sometimes, everyone is closing down, the sun is coming, so, and or dark, then you don't even know that you are traveling. You're just sitting. This is just a din, which you are hearing, and that's it, you're static, like that. So in devotional life, also, you will not know the speed at which you are traveling till the aircraft touches the tarmac. Once the rubber hits, then you see zoom, 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 everything is passing suddenly, and then you are holding like that. Brace for impact, whatever. And then you realize how fast you have been traveling. Only when the aircraft touches the ground. So unless one falls down from devotional service, one will not realize how fast one was traveling towards liberation. Because when you are in the thick of doing the regular routine activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smarana, we think that we are not progressing, but actually we are progressing. We think nothing is happening, but tons and tons of karma are getting burnt up. Tons and tons. And if some karma is giving reaction, we lose faith. It's not like that. But we should know that tons and tons. We were not Paramahamsas. Otherwise we wouldn't be in this body if we were Paramahamsas. God knows what all we were. What chandalas we were in the previous life, who knows. What all karmas we have come with, who knows. Even in this lifetime, many devotees have been eating meat, drinking alcohol, womanizing, right? So everything was going, cinema houses, gambling. So many, it's not that in this lifetime we were saints since childhood. It's not like that. We have come in Krishna consciousness, okay, a few years back. Some may say, okay, 4 saal. Some may maximum say last 15 years. But more than that, what? And even after coming in devotional service, how many of us say that we have lived a very clean life? Our thinking has been pure. Can we say like that? That no woman has looked attractive after coming in Krishna consciousness. Can we ever say like that? Anybody? Can we vouch? No, we can't. So we are not in a very great position to think that every activity, everything that is coming in our life is because Krishna is testing me, like that. We are not Kuresh or Kolaveta Sridhar. We are not on that platform that Mahaprabhu will test, come and test us like that. So it's in one sense arrogance to also think like that. That Prabhu, whatever is coming, Krishna is giving me now. He's testing me really. It may not be anything. It may just be your karma. That is for pure. So, ye yatamam prapadanti. It may be true. I am not saying it is not true. It may be true. But to the extent that we surrender only, then his influence is there. To the extent only, tests are also going to come in our life. So pure devotees get the maximum tests. Severe tests are given as one advances more and more. Okay, now 16. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent. Mahatma Prabhu, that answers your question. Mahatma Prabhu, that answers your question. This verse. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, you ask, no? Prakriti kriya manani gurmani. So yes, that is a small d. Okay. So one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in the world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. So Lord Krishna here is contrasting a foolish thinker with an intelligent person who possesses knowledge and is free from illusion. He is contrasting both these, fool as well as intelligent person. So, as Mahatma Prabhu said, Kartaham iti manyate. So if we consider that we are the sole doers, then that is arrogance. Even if it is a simple activity, we think we are the sole doers, that is arrogance. What to speak of a pious activity? If we are successful in doing something or it's activity in the mode of passion, still we are in arrogance because we can never be the sole doer. The soul cannot do any activity if it is not sanctioned by the super soul. So, if someone thinks that I am a self-made man, like that, then such a thinking is rascaldom. Whereas, in text 17, Lord talks about the intelligent person who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled. Such a person does not get any karma. So, what is happening in this section? That Lord is trying to, what is the Lord trying to do at the end of the day by telling all this to Arjuna? Lord is inciting him to fight the battle at the end of the day. So that's why he is saying all this. Though he kills men in this world, he does not kill. So he has come back to his point after a long time. And he is directly telling that to Arjuna now. Now you kill now. We are towards the 18th chapter now. You kill. Okay. So Lord is trying to incite Arjuna by arguments which are based on jnana. That's why he is using very well. One whose intelligence is not entangled. So intelligence means jnana. So Lord is teaching Arjuna the principle of akarma. Akarma means activities which do not beget sinful reaction. The Prabhupada, Gurujan Prabhu gives an example of a soldier. A soldier who kills on the battlefield because his superior officer has sanctioned him to kill. The same soldier, when he kills based on his on his own personal account, I don't like this neighbor of mine. If he kills, then obviously that is not sanctioned. Whereas if you act under higher sanction, then you don't get karma.
No question. If the superior officer,
He is asking you to take bribes.
no, if the soldier knows,
I thought you were asking because I was expecting that question. Somebody will ask.
if the soldier knows that the superior is telling something,
Yeah.
it is definitely against what he can order, or it is definitely against his role or something, then in the case, can
You should speak to your manager.
You have to tell me.
No, for example, we did that security awareness quiz. No? If someone asks you, if your manager asks you for the password, please contact your manager's manager. Something like that. Obviously, if your immediate superior is not giving you the right instruction, then you have to raise that, not merely follow that and say, I am not responsible. Because if you are not understanding what he is saying, you have to get it clarified.
Otherwise, you are going to approve the reactions.
Otherwise, you like to. Because the superior should be a true superior. A true superior is one who is saying the same instructions to you which his superior has told. That superior should say the same instructions which is the constitution, which the ultimate superior person has written. Obviously. So that in that context, all this is allowed. Otherwise, nothing. That's why I say superior telling bribes. You take bribes. I said superior never. Everybody will be in jail. Right? Huh? Yeah. 2G scammer. Okay. Verse 18. Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the three factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the three constituents of action. So essentially, don't get too caught up in these words. You can read in isolation at home, because it's a bit difficult verse. This verse is a bit difficult. It goes here and there. 5 constitution of actions, then somewhere senses, knowledge, everything is all seems to be jumbled up. So read it in isolation. I'll give you the essence of what this is trying to say. So the Lord is saying that the instruments of work, the work itself and the worker, these are called as the constituents of work, which itself is a bit complex. So don't worry about it. It will not come in your exam. Don't worry about it. What the Lord is saying essentially is that inspiration to do a particular activity is a subtle form of activity itself. Inspiration to do a particular work or an impetus to do a particular work is also subtle work, which then takes the form of gross activity. So that is what the Lord is saying. When the inspiration is there and the worker is there, when the inspiration is there and the worker is there, then actual activity takes place by the help of the senses, including the mind, which is the center of all the senses. So there has to be an inspiration to do every activity. As simple as that. You keep it very simple. Now, Lord Krishna starts explaining. Now the main part comes here. Lord Krishna starts explaining knowledge, action and performance under the 3 modes of material nature. Knowledge, action and performance. So there are so many things that are coming up. So what we will do is, we will do a marathon reading for the next 5 minutes, and we will go read from verse 19 to verse 39. And then we will have a discussion for the next half an hour, 40 minutes. Okay? We will do marathon reading. Please hear carefully. As we, what do you call that as word? Blitz through this section. What do you call it? Huh? Blitz through this section. We race through this section. How many of you are scared that Bhagavad Gita is becoming to an end? Some people are scared. Why?
That reminds, we still have received the SS for 15, 16 and 17.
I haven't seen the received the essay answers for the other ones. How many of you are yet to submit for 9, 10, 11, 12?
There's already complaints coming through.
Okay, I'll not disappoint you, don't worry. Essays itne aayenge, you'll be completely satisfied.
Sanction is desired.
No, actually at the end of 18th chapter, then I'll give all the essays till 18. So you all will be eternally busy. You'll have no complaints. And then to top that, I'll give you all the closed book exams also. So you will have a lot of fun.
Yeah, sure, I will be eternal.
But yeah, you will be busy till the end of the year. No vacation. You will be studying. What? Yeah, you'll get a break. Yeah, good answer. Good question, sorry. Good point. So the break will be between 6th of December to 15th of January will be a break for giving assignments. Just to facilitate you all, to help you all complete all your backlog. Then I will not keep any class. Is that fair? Yeah, I planned to give it.
Not fair.
Okay, no essays, no assignments. Okay, come and collect your certificate. Is that fair? No, that is also not fair. Verse 19. According to the 3, okay, Haribol. Okay, now we have to concentrate. So it's a very important section, very important from exam point of view. Questions will come only from this section. Verse 19. According to the three different modes of material nature, there are three kinds of knowledge. Okay? Somebody is still discussing. I don't know what to do. Harin Prabhu, is that you? Mr. Electric. I want to switch you off now. Okay. Verse 19. According to the three different modes of material nature, there are three kinds of knowledge. Action and performer of action. So how many, if you have to draw a matrix, what will be the matrix? 9. 3 by 3. What will be the x-axis, y-axis? Knowledge, action and performer. And on this axis will be mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So now you start imagining that table for all our discussion. It should be in your mind. You can make notes if you want. Up to you. And anyway, I will give you these notes also towards the end, not now. I may give you this. But you have to make your own notes. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities. That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness. That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion. And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness. That now, these are the three verses on knowledge. Now we go to action. That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results, is said to be the mode of goodness. But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion. That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunctions, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So now that covers the three verses on action. We are going to discuss, but that covers the three verses. Now, the next is about performance.
Should I ask you later or not?
Later. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. So this is talking about the performer. Because Prabhupada says one means a human being, the performer. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, and moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunctions of the scriptures, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, and who is lazy, always morose, and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. So we talked about, we read about knowledge, work, action, and performer. Now the Lord is going into different parameters. The first parameter is going to take is understanding. The second parameter is going to take is determination, and the third one is going to take is happiness. Okay, so I'll just sum up if it's not making sense to you. We are discussing various parameters in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. The first parameter we are seeing is knowledge. Next, work and action. Third is performer, which we have read. what we are going to read will be understanding, determination and happiness. O winner of wealth, now please listen as I tell you in detail of the different kinds of understanding and determination according to the three modes of material nature. O son of Pritha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, between action that should be done and action that should not be done, is in the mode of passion. 32. That understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, O Partha, is in the mode of ignorance. So that talks about understanding. Now we come to determination. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. But that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive activities in religion, economic development and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. We remember we discussed this, fasting. Here it is. So the mode of passion. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of darkness. So we are talking about determination. Now the Lord is going to talk about the final aspect, which is happiness. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. That which in the beginning may be like poison, but at the end is like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization, is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first but poison at the end, is said to be in the nature of passion. And that happiness which is blind to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness and illusion, is said to be in the nature of ignorance. Okay. So he is declaring all this, and finally in the verse 40, the Lord is saying, there is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is freed from these three modes born of material nature. And we thought that we may not be able to do Ugra Karma. We may not be doing Ugra Karma. We thought like that, no? Is it possible to avoid Ugra Karma? We were discussing. There is no being existing either here or among the demigods in the higher planetary systems which is freed from these three modes of nature. All of us are on the spell of material nature. So then before we begin discussion, there were, okay, Rajava Prabhu, your hand went up first, so what is your question?
Again, all the activities that are mentioned in mode of goodness, they sometimes overlap with mode of pure goodness as well.
Correct. Gurujan Prabhu also writes that in one of the purports to one of the aspects, Gurujan Prabhu writes that yes, many of them have the overlap. You're right.
You see, knowledge and goodness, he says, he sees all the undivided spiritual nature in all living entities, which is almost like a pure goodness.
Because if the mode of goodness is the springboard for the mode of pure goodness. So it has to have a lot of similarities. The mode of goodness, where Krishna in the center, is the mode of pure goodness. Otherwise everything else is same. You cannot say, Prabhuji, I am in laziness for the pleasure of Krishna. You will not say like that, right? But you can say, Prabhuji, I want to be honest for the pleasure of Krishna. So mode of goodness is the springboard. So there will be a lot of similarities. Yeah.
So there seems to be overlap between like action and understanding and knowledge as well, right? Like it's talking about the same mode. Understanding is what's right and what's wrong, and knowledge is going to disasters. And then you decide what's right. So it seems to be of the 5 things or 5 things. Seems to be overlap.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. 6 things are there. Yes. Mahesh Prabhu, you had a question? No.
Can I ask another question? You know, in the 18th verse, we discussed those 3 motivators. So those, they come before the 5, before the action is actually performed, right? And the motivation.
And they can come even after the action is performed. When we get fruits of our action, we get motivated to do that activity. For example, when we work very hard and we get a promotion, what do? We stop working, we work even harder. So because the promotion becomes a motivated to do work even harder. When you perform a sinful activity, someone rapes someone and nobody has seen and he doesn't get punished, then he gets motivated to do it again. So if you see both the spectrum, this is mode of passion and ignorance. And even in mode of goodness, when you do something good activities for everyone says thank you and are very friendly with you, then it motivates you to perform more good activities like that. First time somebody asks you, Prabhu, some money, $500. Take, no problem, take. Prabhu, you are my best friend. I'm your best friend? Take $1,000. Prabhu ji, aap to bhagwan ho. You to hai, 2000 le lo yaar. Aur bolo. It's like that, no? So we like to play very nice man to everyone. So all these trap us. All these things trap us somehow. And we start focusing on, this is the motivator in each mode. Okay. So let's start dissecting each of them. It's going to be relatively light only, not very difficult section. Just relax and let's have a discussion. Let's make it interactive. Let's have a nice discussion. Because there is nothing which you will not be able to understand. There is nothing like that which is going to come in this section. You have already read everything till 30, till 40. So let's see one by one. So what is knowledge in the mode of goodness? So what's your understanding? Without seeing now, you should be able to tell. Because you have read. From your understanding, what is knowledge in the mode of goodness?
The discrimination between what should be done and should not be done.
That is discrimination in the mode of goodness.
Seeing everybody in the same vision.
Knowledge is the self.
No, you are right. Yeah. So, seeing everyone, Prabhupada writes there. If you go back, see the purport. Sorry, Lord Krishna says there. Seeing everyone as spirit soul. So, what is the supreme knowledge? Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. 9.2. So, if you go, you will understand that the highest knowledge, Raja Vidya, is that everyone is spirit soul. So, if we see everyone as the spirit soul and part and parcels of the supreme Brahman, then that is called as mode of goodness. And seeing the undivided spiritual nature in all the jivas, including the animals, not to speak of different human beings. Or one who knows the Karmana Daiva Netrena principle. Karmana Daiva Netrena Jantur Deha Upapattaye Triya Pravishta Udaram Pumsareta Kanashraya. Which means that everyone knows this principle that people get bodies only because of their past karma. That also that other verse is Nayam Deho Deha Bajam Nadoke Kashtan Kaman Arhate with Bujambe. What is that? Next line. Tapo Divyam Putraka Yena Sattvam Sudhyad Yasmad Brahma Saukhyam Tvanantam. So people are suffering in this world because they don't know हम ये दुनिया में क्यों आए पहला. Half the people don't know हम ये दुनिया में क्यों आए. In fact, in Hindi also there is a great famous song. दुनिया में क्यों आए? What is it? दुनिया में आए something like that. दुनिया बनाने वाले का है. हाँ वो भी है but ये दूसरा song that I already told in the last time. It's a different section of a different song. So many people think ये दुनिया में क्यों आए हम like that. So दुनिया में आए because of material desires. So one who knows this principle that दुनिया में क्यों आए and क्यों ये शरीर में आए like that. Why we came with our natures? One who understands that karmana daiva netrana, because of your karma and under the divine supervision that you have come, then such a person is having the right knowledge that everybody is spirit soul in different bodies. That is the right, that is the epitome of knowledge. Perfection of knowledge. Of course, the higher perfection is what? Which is even beyond the mode of goodness. Not only you are just spirit soul, but you are eternal part and parcels of Krishna, and Jiva Swarupa hoy, you are Krishna. Whether you are animal, whether you are man, everyone is servant of. So the knowledge of science of self-realization, SSR, is the knowledge in the mode of goodness. Now, if you see, the fundamental difference between mode of goodness, mode of passion and mode of ignorance is what? There are three words we must remember. The mode of goodness is always illuminating in its nature. This you may remember. If you remember this, you will understand everything else. The mode of goodness is always illuminating in its nature. The mode of passion is always materialistic in its nature. And the mode of ignorance is conducive to laziness. Usually it is like this. These are the three categories. One is illuminating, which awakens you from ignorance. One is that which makes you endeavor for the temporary. And the third one is one which makes you not endeavor at all. In darkness. These are the essential characteristics of three modes of material nature. So knowledge we saw, which is knowledge which is illuminating, which is the science of self-realization, is in the mode of goodness. What about knowledge in the mode of passion? So see the beauty. Knowledge in the mode of goodness means what? Everyone is a part and parcel of Supreme. And knowledge in the mode of passion is what then?
Everyone is a different body.
Correct. Everyone is a different body. Different type of living entities. Where is the similarity? Kahan same hai? Nothing is same. You are different, I am different, everyone is different. And we are our bodies. Body and soul are one and the same. What is it? यही शरीर ही है. उसके ऊपर क्या है? यही शरीर है, यही आत्मा है. People talk like that sometimes. So this is, body is soul. And they think when the body is gone, the consciousness is also gone. Like that. Or everything is temporary. Consciousness is also temporary according to them. So these people do not understand that the body is a result of our consciousness. And consciousness is not as a result of our body. Does it make sense? They don't understand the cause effect. They think that the consciousness is a result of the body. They don't understand that the body is as a result of the consciousness. That is a big difference. Big difference. They think that ये कुत्ता है इसलिए भौंकता है. They do not know इसको भौंकने का बहुत शौक था इसके लिए कुत्ते का जन्म मिला. No, people don't think like that. They think that the body is a result of, the consciousness is a result of the body. But they don't understand that the body is a result of the propensity or consciousness in the sense. So they don't realize, confuse between cause and effect. So this is mode of passion. Or, one second. Or, they think that there are no individual souls. All are one soul. And the body is a manifestation of the ignorance of, even if there is a Supreme, the body is a manifestation of the ignorance of the Supreme. Darindra Narayan. Supreme is also suffering in ignorance. That is why this body. Otherwise you are Bhagavan, I am Bhagavan. So this is not mode of goodness. This is mode of passion. And some people say, beyond the body, there is no Supreme Soul. So that knowledge which leads one to the science of self-realization is in the mode of goodness. That knowledge which leads one to theorize and doctrinate is in the mode of passion. That knowledge which leads one to self-realization is in the mode of goodness. That knowledge which leads one to theorize and doctrinate, खुद का फंडा निकालता हूँ, खुद का philosophy, that is called as mode of passion. And then that knowledge which says that I don't have anything, it is all too much, क्या करना है अभी? At the end of the day, Everything is just for sense gratification. क्या जिंदगी 2 दिन की ऐश करो. There are many songs like that. Just enjoy, live life king size, like Radha Gopinath Prabhu says. So with that knowledge which says that body is just a tool which is meant for the enjoyment, that is mode of ignorance. And for my enjoyment, if money is coming, that itself is my Bhagwan. So God is money. So that is also mode of ignorance. So knowledge in the mode of goodness is what? That knowledge which leads to self-realization. Knowledge in the mode of passion is which leads to theorizing or doctrination. And knowledge in the mode of ignorance is that knowledge which just stops at keeping the body comfortable. मजा आना चाहिए, बस शरीर को मजा आना चाहिए, उतना नॉलेज काफ़ी है. उससे ज़्यादा कौन सोचेगा बॉडी है या सोल है. When you talk to people, क्या फर्क पड़ता है भाई? मजा आ रहा है. Like that. This is called as mode of ignorance. So Prabhupada, see how beautifully Lord is preempting all these points. Somebody had a question. Somebody raised hands and I did not.
You mentioned that body is the result of your consciousness, right? But in the present body, we are also developing our consciousness for the next life. Is it not written? Or am I not getting it correct?
In our present body, our consciousness is defining our next life. Think about it.
Evolves. Our consciousness is
defining our next life.
Defining our next body.
Correct. Is it clear?
Yes. So all the time the consciousness always will be first and then the body will be. Then will be
because if you read Bhaktivedanta week 4 material or something like that, it is said that the subtle body carries the soul, just like the fragrance of a flower. If you remember, carries and takes you. So our desires will take us. Our consciousness will take us.
But this will applicable is only for the human body, right? For animals, it is natural. So a person, soul from a cow, a monkey's body to a crocodile's body, it is
fixed.
It's fixed, right?
Because they are evolving. We are not evolving. We are at the pinnacle of evolution. We are at the pinnacle of evolution where we have free will. They are evolving. So they are on autopilot of gradual evolution of consciousness. Whereas we are already evolved in our consciousness. Now it's a question of free will. How do you want to degrade your consciousness or do you want to elevate your consciousness? That choice only human beings have. So Prabhupada says that's why. The human life is we are on an evolutionary standpoint, Prabhupada says. You remember? Somewhere he says like that in some book.
No, that's what we elevate. We can still elevate the consciousness.
Okay. So we need to go a bit fast now. So knowledge we saw in the 3 modes. Now we will go to the next one, which is work or action in the 3 modes. So what is work in the mode of goodness? That work which is regulated. ऐसा नहीं कि ऑफिस गया पता नहीं कब आएंगे. Many housewives in India they complain but they are actually very proud. ये देखो ना ये ऑफिस जाते हैं कब आएंगे पता नहीं. You know, some of my relatives also. Even when the office katti day office, they will say like that. Which means जब भी office को गले लगा के रोते रहते हैं, कभी भी पूछो office, and they are very proud after this. They are internally they are miserable, but in the society they are very proud. Internally miserable. Obviously, who will be? For the soul, money cannot buy happiness. Soul needs relationship. Soul needs love. Correct? So money cannot buy. But anyway they are not going to happen. They cannot control their husbands doing like that. And they are also enjoying the fruits of that. They like to take that money and go and shop during that day. उनको वो भी अच्छा लगता है. And while wearing that, then play cards in the afternoon. They like that. Showing others, कौन सा कांजीवरम, which is the jewelry like that, Oh, 24 karat. Yes. ये देखो ना, ये घर में ही नहीं आते हैं. पूरा time office like that. And then that's a prestige. That's a prestige for them. So activity which is regulated, not unregulated like this. Activity which is regulated without attachment or without hatred. Somebody said, should we love our jobs? Prabhuji then. We should neither love our jobs nor hate our job. Just go there, Do your duty to the best of your ability and come out. Just like a water which is tottering on a leaf, which has got no attachment. Go there, do your best, come. हुआ तो हुआ, नहीं तो नहीं हुआ, ठीक है, क्या कर सकते हो? आऊँगा लेकिन, I do my best. Like that. Neither getting attached too much or neither getting very depressed. Oh, the project failed, life is not worth living. After all, the earth is a small speck of dust in the universe. 79% is covered with water. In the 21% land, we are in one small place called as Melbourne. Inside that there is one company, inside that there is one project going on. And we think, we are doing something great. Like that. How does it matter? In the eternal cosmos, it's insignificant. Right? So therefore, devotees who understand this principle, this knowledge we have of the insignificance of our activities, we will not get too attached to some success and some failure. How does it matter? Who are we? Nothing. So, regulated without attachment, hatred, without fruitive results. And Prabhupada gives an example of Varnashrama duties. Go about your duty, take care of your family, not to get too attached to anything. Even to the family, don't get too attached. Do your duty, but don't get too attached to the family as well as what you want your child to become and not become, because it will only give misery. If you start worrying too much, then it will lead to misery. At the end of the day, they will become what is ordained for them. Because we are only the small doers. There is a big D there. Who will decide? Not to even get attached too much to the fact that they will become devotees. Because that is the biggest slap or disappointment one can get in one's life. Correct? What will be the biggest disappointment for you? If your children say that we have nothing to do with Krishna consciousness, thank you for having taken care of us for so many years. See you later. Like that. Be prepared. That is also the kind of detachment. And final detachment will come at the time of death. You can't do anything after that. So gradually, Bhagavad Gita is preparing us to become more and more detached from everything. Because everything is temporary. Even our relatives, husband, wife, children, we are all passengers on a train. There is another example which Prabhupada gives, no? Like bubbles come together, waves come together, ocean, and then. So that is how it is. All these relationships are actually that, like that. It will come and it will go in the matter of time. So a sober person doesn't get too attached, because more the attachment, more the pain when there is a separation. It's easy to lecture on this, trust me. Practical life, very difficult. Very difficult. Easy to lecture. Very nice also to hear. But very difficult. Virtually impossible. Virtually impossible. But only possible when our sadhana is perfect to the point in time that we are really deep in Krishna consciousness, then these things will not impact us. When we go deep in Krishna consciousness, the turbulence in our lives will not impact us. But because we are not swimming deep inside the ocean, therefore anything is impacting us today very easily. All ordinary situations are also impacting us. That is the need to go deep. So that knowledge which results in that consciousness is in mode of goodness. Yeah.
We should understand we should do things as a sense of duty. But if you're not feeling attached, then the motivation, how does the motivation will come if you're simply not attached to, Krishna, do it as a sense of duty, but if you're not attached, then there's a lack of motivation to that thing, then you won't feel.
Lord is not saying don't be attached. He is saying attachment should be towards Krishna to do those duties. We cannot not have attachment, because the nature of human beings is to be attached to something. In fact, attachment is a stage of bhakti. Shraddha, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti, nishtha, ruchi, asati. Asati means attachment. So attachment should be there, but attachment should be there for Krishna, and then through that, then attachment should be there for our family members as servants of Krishna. Then that attachment will not cause so much of a pain, because the primary reason for attachment is eternal. No? That association is not going to leave you. Does it make sense or not?
It makes sense.
Theoretically it makes sense. Practically it will not make sense, no, as I said. Because this is not something which is just read and write an exam. This is Krishna consciousness. This is the depth of our Krishna consciousness. That is going to be tested. In trying times, the depth is going to be tested. How many of us will pass? How many of us will not pass? I don't know. I don't know. I will pass or I don't pass. I don't know. I don't want those tests, frankly. It's very scary to even think of it. Correct? Can we pray like Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj or Stoka Krishna? Let anything happen. Because Stoka Krishna Prabhu's wife was pregnant when he... Correct, no, Mataji? His wife was pregnant when he left this world. Very young boy. Just recently married, like that. So we can't pray like that. Let whatever required for my purification, give me, my dear Lord. We have to be very careful what we pray. Right now, we are praying that, okay, please at least keep everyone's health properly because we all want to serve you together, my dear Lord. But even in that situation, we cannot be eternal. We will not, nobody is eternal. Even devotees cannot eternally live in this world. So we have to really start, we should not forget thinking in this direction. Okay, so work action, which is regulated without attachment, hatred, is mode of goodness. Mode of passion is that action which requires great effort performed for sense gratification enacted from false ego. Ishvara aham bhogi. I am going to be the enjoyer and I am the doer. मैं करके ही रहूँगा. मैं नाम कमा के रहूँगा अपने लिए. People talk like that. No? This is all mode of passion. I will do it. I know I can do it. I will do it. I will accomplish. And I will work. No? Mode of passion. Mode of ignorance is work action which disregards the scriptures. Which holds the nature of violence. Which causes distress to others without any concern for bondage in this world. No accountability. People think I am not accountable to anyone. I will go kill anyone I want, I will behead anyone I want, I am not accountable to anyone. Like that. So, Srila Prabhupada says such people are accountable to Yamadutas, whether they know it or whether they don't know it. So these are all actions in mode of ignorance. Performer who is in the mode of goodness. Who is a performer? A karta in the mode of goodness, who performs with a sense of duty, without false ego, with determination, with enthusiasm, undeterred by success or failure. Such a person is performing in the mode of goodness. Who is performer in the mode of Amrit? You need to be silent for 5 minutes. After that, chutti. Okay? 6 minutes. Good boy. So, mode of passion. Performer in the mode of passion attached to work. People say, I am a performer. What is that? Best, most valuable performer. MVP. Get award, performance award. So, one who is attached to work, fruits, greedy, envious, impure, moved by joy and sorrow. Such a person is a mode of passion. He gets very easily shaken up by joys and sorrows coming out from that action, from that performance. For example, after the performance, you don't get reward, then you feel very sorrow. And if you get a reward, then you want to go to a pub and celebrate that with lot of passion. The champagne will go up like that. So all this is mode of passion like that. And what about the mode of ignorance? A performer who is in the mode of ignorance is against the scriptures, materialistic, stubborn, is a cheat, is insulting, lazy, procrastinator, always procrastinating everything. Kal dekhte hain, like that. That is called as mode of ignorance. So, Prabhupada says that the understanding and determination, which are the next two parameters to come, will be as good or bad as our knowledge. If our knowledge is poor, our understanding and determination will also be poor.
So procrastinating about writing essays, which mode is that?
Mode of pure goodness. Krishna will be very happy with that. Don't about it.
It's called transcendental anxiety.
Understanding. Understanding. What is understanding in the mode of goodness? One who knows right from wrong. Again, the children are making us, please, please. One of you has to please go immediately because I really can't concentrate. Just 5 more minutes I need. We'll just finish this section. Understanding is one who knows right from wrong and who has a healthy fear. Healthy fear, but is still fearless. Fearless from the point of view that not fearing material nature, but one who fears Vaishnava Prad. Things like that. So there has to be healthy fear. And there has to be healthy fear of Maya also. Not a false sense of confidence that Maya cannot attack me. Prabhu, abhi to 16 round chant kar raha hu, abhi bindas. Abhi sex desire aayega hi nahi. If someone says like that, now I will never get envy in my life. I will never greed. Because I have become devotee, Prabhu. So that means there is something, no. We cannot take our devotional life for granted. Even Jada Bharat, Maharaj Bharat also fell down because of attachment to a deer from Bhava platform. We are nowhere near that. Most of us are struggling in Anartha Nivritti platform right now. Correct, no? So therefore, there has to be a healthy fear, but yet fearlessness that Krishna will protect. What is that? Rakshiti sa vishwaso. That fear should be there. That confidence, the fearlessness should be there. That is what the Acharyas are recommending. That's what Lord Krishna is recommending as the mode of goodness. Understanding as to what is binding and what is liberating. Mode of passion, what is understanding? Understanding in the mode of passion is that understanding which cannot differentiate between religion and irreligion. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, I was hearing his lecture 2-3 days back, which he gave in the House of Commons. I would recommend if you have not heard. It's a beautiful lecture he has given. How many of you have not heard? Lecture in the House of Commons, the British Parliament is giving. The manor. What is that? Which manor is that? Sorry, what is the palace called as? Buckingham Palace. No, Buckingham Palace. Some other manor it's called as. Huh?
House of Commons.
It's also called as some manor.
The building is what you're asking for, Prabhu.
Forgot. Anyway, doesn't matter what it is called. Why are we debating that? Doesn't matter. So what he was saying is, people were asking him why there is violence in the name of religion. So he says religion doesn't cause violence. It is the greed within man, the envy, selfishness. When it takes the garb of a religion, then it is seen as if religion is causing violence. So a person who is in the mode of passion cannot distinguish between what is religion and irreligion. So that is what is right and wrong. He doesn't understand. And a mode of ignorance is what? Someone who thinks irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion and always driving in the wrong direction. See, one is you know what is religion, you know what is irreligion. Another is you are not sure, so sometimes you are confused. Third is you are convinced that irreligion is religion and religion is irreligion. That is mode of ignorance. So there are 3 states which are given. Determination. What is determination in the mode of goodness? Unbreakable, which is sustained by yoga, which controls the activities of mind, life and senses. I think all of you are tired now. Kids are wild now. So what we'll do? We'll do determination. We already read the verses. Next week, first 5-10 minutes I'll summarize this. We'll stop here. I think I'm just sensing that all of you are tired.
The kids there,
I know. You can say the kids Bhana, but all of you are also tired. It was nice. Use it. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki.